Hey folks, welcome back to Leader Talk. I'm SEAC retired John Wayne Troxell here with an updated episode. Been on the road a lot to start 2026. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm heading on an overseas flight. So I want to get an episode in here before I get out and about on my next travels. You know, I had an interesting conversation yesterday in a barbershop here on, the local military installation here. I went in to get my hair cut. It was interesting that one of the barbers and the person they had in their chair were having this conversation about politics. And I could tell that both of these gentlemen were on opposite sides of the fence. And I thought to myself, I don't know that this is a good topic to talk about in a public place, in a barbershop, where people can have differing opinions and sometimes they can get emotional on it. And so the young lady that was cutting my hair agreed with me. And so we started having this conversation about the world and how to deal with it and everything. She used the term effed up world. I don't think the world is effed up. I've been around the world and back, getting ready to head out again tomorrow on that overseas trip. I think it's a complex world. And in order to understand a complex world, you have to clearly understand everything involved with it, personalities, opinions, and things like that. And sometimes the best way to deal with complexities, especially in a world when you have different personalities, different cultures, and things like that, is try to stay in the middle of the road and try not to get emotional about things. Now, don't get me wrong, I have an opinion. I do my civic duty. I vote for who I think should be in national office and in my state and local elections, who I think would be best to carry out policy and things like that. But if that person doesn't win, then I don't get emotional over it. Because I think I can control the direction my life is going, regardless of who the elected officials are. You know, another example I'll give you is I was on a flight one day, and this was right after the last year's election. Well, the election in 2024. And the guy sitting next to me said, "Hey, did you vote? You know, we're boarding the plane. People are getting on here. I don't know any of these people on here. I would assume at least half the people on the plane don't agree with me in terms of my politics and everything, and that's okay." So this guy says, "Did you vote?" And I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Who'd you vote for?" I said, "My vote is mine, okay? And it's mine only. All right, just like your vote is yours." I said, "I am not getting on this plane to talk politics because you're asking me for one or two reasons. You want me to commiserate with you on the person that you voted for, or you want to hold it against me that I voted for somebody other than you." And I said, I am not going to get involved in this kind of conversation on a flight. So please, I told the gentleman, please put your earbuds in, watch a movie, listen to music, whatever, and let's just have a nice flight. And of course, he gave me the side eye and an evil look, and then he looked away from me. But the person across the aisle from me leaned over and said, "Good answer." My point in all of that is I could have easily made this into an event over politics, and I wasn't going to do it, okay? I was not going to do that. So what I try to do with this complex world is make things easy for me, my family, and how I get after my life. And I don't get consumed with things that are going on that I can't control. I talk about this all the time. I take a positive approach to my life and everything going on in my life. And the one thing I do is I focus on what I can control. And I can control my emotions, my behaviors, my actions, and what I do to make the world a better place. I can't control the actions of others, and I can't control the behaviors of others. So I don't waste time, energy, emotions, or resources on that. And so I think we need more of this in the world, especially with some of the turbulent stuff that's going on here. So let's take a quick break and hear from one of our sponsors at Downrange Supplements. And when we come back, let's talk about how to get after this self-control and how to live a life of positivity.
Downrange Supplements. As the brand of the troops, we produce only the highest quality supplements conducive to mission effectiveness. Whether it's our fully dosed pre-workout, recovery and rehydration, or Mermite protein, it's time to continually improve your fighting position with Downrange supplements. Go to www.downrangesups.com today and take your training to the next level.
Hey folks, welcome back to Leader Talk. I'm SEAC retired John Wayne Troxell. We're talking about positivity and how to deal with things that may be going on in a complex world. And I talked in the first segment about making things easy. And it starts with controlling what I can control. And I talked earlier about controlling my actions, my behaviors, my emotions, things like that. I see social media can be a fuel for people to be upset, to be downright hateful. And I think there's a lot of people that spend an excessive amount of time on social media giving their political opinion, and not just a political opinion, but they are denigrating other citizens who may disagree with them. If somebody disagrees with you, it doesn't mean you have to hate them, okay? Just agree to disagree, all right? You know, I was watching the news the other day and I saw a gentleman on there that was approached by someone in the media and he said, "Whose side are you on?" And I thought to myself, what does it matter? Okay, all right? Do we have to pick sides now? Why can't we all just be good Americans and be respectful of each other and stop allowing politics to influence our behavior? And I use social media as a positive tool. I post the positive things I'm doing to help our service members, help veterans, but more importantly, how to make life better for me and my family. And I try to be a positive example on how to get after things like that. Again, I have an opinion, all right? There's some things that I don't agree with that go on in the world and everything, but if I can't control it or influence it, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to waste my time on that because I have too much good stuff going on in my life and in my work that I want to focus on. And the other thing that comes with using social media as an adverse tool and being political and everything, I have a responsibility as a serial consultant that works for various organizations that I cannot bring shame or any bad press on that organization. I have a responsibility as someone that works for that organization to be a positive example and to showcase that I am an effective member of that team, not someone that is trying to use my position to get after a political agenda. I just am not going to do it and will not do it. And so social media is a effective tool where you can influence a lot of people. So how about let's use it in a positive way instead of using it as a way of voicing political frustration and then attacking other citizens. And in the end, all of this, I talk about being an example for others. I have children that look at me, my grandchildren that look at me. I have others around the world that, respect me. And so I have a responsibility to be that positive example for them in everything I do in my life. Okay, so let's take another quick break, and we're going to hear from our sponsors at PME Hard Consulting. And when we come back, I'll close out with an acronym that I use that gets after positivity. We'll be right back. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Leader Talk. I want to take a quick moment to talk about leadership. At PME Hard Consulting and Lead, we offer top-tier leadership development and coaching. With over 60 years of combined military and leadership experience to lean on, along with certifications in the Power of Positive Leadership, Power of Positive Teams, and the Energy Bus programs by best-selling author John Gordon, we offer training that will help you cultivate positive, impactful leadership within your organization. To learn more or to schedule your leadership workshop, head to www.pmehard.com and start building a better, more effective leadership team today. Hey folks, welcome back to Leader Talk. I'm SEAC retired John Wayne Troxell. We're talking about living a positive lifestyle. And in a complex world that can sometimes be turbulent, how to focus on positivity instead of negativity to live a good life. So the acronym I like to use is an acronym called FUEL in terms of how to live life every day. FUEL. And the F stands for feeding the positive stuff in your life and starving the negative stuff in your life. I ask this question all the time in my leadership talks. Tell me something good that's happened to you in the last 24 hours. And inevitably, somebody will say, well, I woke up this morning. And I thought to myself, that's the best thing you can say is going on in your life, is that you woke up this morning. And more importantly, was it by accident, or did you set conditions that you were confident you were going to wake up this morning? I can rattle off on any given time half a dozen good things that have happened to me in the last 24 hours. Having coffee with my wife in the morning, visiting with my kids or grandkids, having a great business conversation, having a great workout, having a great dinner with my wife, or whatever. I can think of so many things. And the way to feed the positive and starve the negative is to have an attitude of gratitude. Be grateful for what you have instead of what you don't have. And practice that attitude of gratitude every day. You know, a wise man one time said, dwelling on negative thoughts is like fertilizing weeds. We don't want to fertilize weeds. You want to fertilize flowers, and you do that through positivity. And so feed the positive things in your life and starve the negative stuff. The U is uplift yourself every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, educationally. Make today better than you were yesterday. That's why I constantly, even at almost 62 years old, I work out 6 days a week. I constantly do meditation and mindfulness. I do yoga stretching. I do all of these things because my health is my wealth. And the more healthy I am, the more I can take care of my family and I can reach our family goals and business goals. But it starts with uplifting yourself every day. I'm convinced that this is the only life we have to live. All right, I don't believe in reincarnation, that you can come back as a squirrel or a Yorkie pup or something like that. This is it. So maximize your life and uplift yourself every day. And then the E is encourage others. Be that example for others. There's too much in the world that I see right now in terms of bad examples of people practicing arrogant vulgarism. They want to make political statements or they want to make disparaging remarks about other people. And when they do it, they want to do it in a way that makes them seem like they are so intelligent and that they are above these other people. And in the end, all it does is continue to push hateful rhetoric, which we don't need in the world today. Be positive, encourage others, be that example for them, even as you encourage yourself when you may be going through some rough times. Life isn't always going to be beer and Skittles, I get it. Sometimes you're going to have to face adversity, all right? And sometimes it's better if we talk to ourselves during bad times instead of listening to ourselves. Because if we listen to ourselves, we could talk ourselves into quitting or all of a sudden turning in a direction that is not towards positivity. And the L is love it. Love the ride. Set goals for yourself. Have a vision of what you want to do with your life. Set goals and go out and get after it. Love the ride. Love the challenges. Love your family. Love life every day. Again, it's the only life we have. So fuel yourself every day and fuel yourself with positivity. Feed that positive dog. Uplift yourself, encourage others, and love the ride. And I guarantee you that you will have a better life, a lot more positivity, and there will be a lot less heartache in your lives. So that's it for today. What I want to do for a warrior shout out today is give a shout out to all of those men and women that are serving in uniform and those serving in our state, federal, and local law enforcement and our first responders. All the people that are out there giving to others and are selfless in how they get after that. God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Leader Talk. God bless America. Boom.